Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today we have a very unique video. We are doing a 4-person joint mock draft. I'm joined by 3 of my fellow creators, fellow friends. Up first, returning to the channel for like his 4th or 5th time. Marcus, how are we doing?
Doing good. Surprised the Bruins are drafting this high and excited to get going with it.
Yeah, Marcus will be selecting for the Bruins in this draft. Grav also returning presence to the channel. How are we doing?
Doing well. Unfortunately, the Stars do not have a first-round pick, but they're going to draft somebody well in like the 7th round. So I'm chilling. I'm all right.
Yeah, Jim Nill does not need his first-round picks. And then lastly, he's making his debut on the channel, Zach Staden. What's up?
How we doing, boys? I'm extremely excited to be drafting and really showing my presence in the GM space. I'm hoping to get there someday. Probably not, but we'll see.
Yeah, so we're all going to be acting as the general managers of these teams. Not who we think these teams are going to pick, but who we would pick given what these teams need. The order it's going to go is me. Spoiler alert, I'm picking for the New York Islanders. Zach, Marcus, Grav, and then we're just going to alternate. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so without further ado, I am the first up. And for my New York Islanders, I'm going to be selecting Matthew Schaefer. I think it's a pretty easy pick between him and Michael Misa. Yeah, I think Schaefer's the best player in this draft for the Islanders. It's not like they have a bona fide like stud defenseman prospect where you even consider position here. You just go Schaefer. They already have Yzerman and Ritchie when it comes to forwards. So yeah, Matthew Schaefer, not going to waste any time. Up next, Zach for the San Jose Sharks.
Yes, pretty disappointing for the Sharks not be able to get Schaefer, but you go with the next best player, and he's not too bad after all. He could have went first, and it's Michael Misa. This kid is going to be an absolute truck, having that 1-2 punch with Celebrini. He is an absolute playmaker. He has the size and be able to get through, and hopefully he can address some other things with the San Jose Sharks other than the defensive issue that they lack. But he's going to be that new guy in San Jose and really be able to produce.
2 captain material guys right there in Celebrini and Misa. Oh,
yeah.
Nasty.
The draft actually starts here, Marcus. Who are we selecting for the Chicago Blackhawks?
That's where we get interesting.
Grav said we got 2 captain material guys going off the board. I'm going to take a third one, Porter Martone for Chicago. I think that guy, I like that guy a lot.
Okay.
And watch his game. I think he's somebody that could really complement Bedard, and they're looking for that guy for sure, and I feel like he could definitely be somebody they could use with that.
Makes sense. Big dude for Bedard.
That's the thing is at 4 now, I have the Utah Mammoth newly named. And of course, Porter Martone would be perfect on Utah. I think if he's available, there's no chance that Utah doesn't end up taking him. It's interesting because I feel like if you go realistic, I don't think there's really any chance that Utah actually takes this guy. But personally, for me, if I was running them and what I see the direction of the team potentially needing, I'm going what the Islanders want. I'm going with Jimmy Hagens here today. I feel like, especially for Utah, this is what gets interesting because I think for Utah specifically, they have gone so much in the bigger direction, so much more in the physical direction. Mm-hmm. Really, the only players they have that are on the more skill ceiling type of base are the Kellers, the Coolies for them. And I feel like especially up the middle, they could really use that extra little bit of juice, that second line center who could really push up the play. They've drafted so many big physical power forwards on the wings, especially, and even up the middle, players like Cole Baudouin I like quite a bit, who will be, 4th line centers, but will be revolutionary pieces. But to me, I look at a top 2 center core of Cooley and James Hagens. I think those 2 would be unbelievable. You could put them on the same power play. Hagens could potentially play wing even if you have the versatility there. I think it just gives Utah so many more options for just pure pace. Hagens is somebody that I think, especially a 4th overall, will be a great pick, even though I don't see Utah actually doing it because they're going to go for somebody bigger. They're going to go for somebody with more size, more physicality, especially if they're going to go for a centerman. But I'm looking at what Utah could need, especially in that forward group. Use a little bit more juice. I'm going with Jimmy.
Yeah, I like that. I think after the top 3, he definitely has the highest offensive ceiling, which is what Utah should be swinging for. At 5th, I'm just going to go best player available. It's between Frundell and Desnoyers. I really like Desnoyers. He's my 3rd favorite prospect in this draft. Nashville needs a center. Barry Trotz likes to play a 2-way style of game. I think Desnoyers at the next level can be exactly that. Monster playoffs in the QMJHL this season. So yeah, Desnoyers. I think it's between those 2, and you really can't go wrong.
Oh, man, you're killing me. You're killing me. He was the perfect pick for Philadelphia at number 6. But because of that, I'm going to reach a tad bit off the board here. And although I think a lot of people might be thinking, the C, Anton Frundell might be the easy one here, he doesn't fit Philly for me. And I'm going to go with the guy who I've watched a lot here, Brady Martin. This kid, he is an alpha. U18s, he plays like an absolute wrecking ball. He hits, he screws around. And I'm telling you right now, although the upside, again, I see it and I don't see them per se doing this. And I could see them going for Friedel in this situation. Brady Martin, man, I don't know what it is. This guy gets me freaking going, dude.
You talk about a Philadelphia like Broad Street Bullies like resurgence.
Oh my God.
It would start with Brady Martin. He is an absolute wrecking ball.
It would be him,
and probably at this point will go like top 9, top 8. The scouts are absolutely falling in love with him.
Yes.
Next up, Marcus, for your Bruins.
I think Bruins fans would be very happy if this scenario happened for them because they rave about this Swedish guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Frondell. I think that's an easy choice. They rave about his pro game, the scouts do, and I think the Bruins need somebody pro ready like Frondell is. So,
yeah, I think that's an easy one.
Just all pick.
They'll probably take McQueen though, knowing them.
I gave that to you on a platter. I don't blame you.
Grab with Seattle.
So this is one that I'm really sad for Kraken fans because I've literally been predicting this for like 6 months now. And I think it's such a good fit. It's exactly what Seattle needs. We're going at number 8, the big Czech, Radim Mertka. And to me, for Seattle, this I you could go for a center, but Seattle, I wouldn't even be surprised if they go for another center, even though they've drafted thousands of them, it feels like, over the last few years. But to me, what Seattle needs, especially in their prospect pool, is a right shot, sturdy, capable, physical defenseman, somebody that skates as well as Mertka does, who plays right in their backyard with the Seattle Thunderbirds. They've had the front row seats to him this entire, at least second half of the season since he's come from Czechia. I like Mertka a lot. I think he's the second best defenseman of this draft class in terms of potential, in terms of the defensive game. Seattle, I think, could especially use that. They have a ton of offensive D in their pool. Mertka is much different, though, and exactly, I think, what that defense could use a lot more of.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. Seattle has to go defense. It would have been interesting if they were picking like 5th or 6th, if they would have valued defense that much. But at 8th, I think it's the clear pick. I wanted him to Buffalo so bad because they have so many goddamn left-handed defensemen.
It's so perfect for them too.
I will not reach on like a Logan Hensler here. I'll just go with Victor Eklund, a guy that I think is going to be NHL ready relatively soon. Strong genes with his brother William. Very productive this year in the second-tier league. Just a solid pick for Buffalo. Not the sexiest pick, but I can be confident that he's going to have a solid 10, 12-year career in the NHL and be a good middle 6 forward.
Better than Frundell, don't at me.
That is the debate.
And now, at number 10, Ka-chow, baby. And we're going Roger McQueen. And he's my choice. And the thing is, he has had a lot of injury trouble, I think, in this year, but people forget how skilled he is. And what's the truth is that his health does not say what kind of player he is. Look at his points, how effective he is. He goes net front and down low, and he's so good there. And talk about him on the power play. He's the perfect replacement for Trevor Zegras, who will probably get shipped out, maybe to Montreal. We'll see. But him to 10, McQueen, baby.
Yeah, I like that. Anaheim, like most of their core is locked in. Just take a fucking swing in this draft. Like there's at 10, it's all a shit show. Just go for it. Marcus, over to you.
So the Brantford Bulldogs have a very similar jersey to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I feel like I
yes,
Ryan being a guy that could not exactly replace Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin, but could be a jump starter for a revamp of their center core. I really like his passing game. His playmaking is good, so I'd like to see the Pens take him.
I like that. That
pick at 11.
I love that pick.
That's clear.
He's so
best
good,
player
man.
available.
All right, it's number 12 time in the New York Rangers, and I was asking Mike before this: is this a mock draft, or are we going what we would pick? Because it is so different for the Rangers. Because I think they would go McQueen every day if he was available there. They're going to go for a swing. They're going to be going something crazy. But for me personally, and I do think this is what the Rangers would do if given this pool of players. They're going for Kashan. They're going for Kashan Aitchison pretty easily at this spot for me. To me, Aitchison, I mean, we talked about Brady Martin earlier, Zach. Aitchison is like the defenseman version of Brady Martin, where it's all electricity, all just pace and energy on the ice. He'll do anything for you. He'll lay his entire body on the line. But also, I think Aitchison's play has still gotten a little bit underrated. The goal scoring ability, especially the amount of overtime goals this year in the OHL. He's just been so consistent in that regard in those big time moments. I think the Rangers especially are going to love that type of clutch gene that he has. And especially with the pool they have. I mean, you got EJ Emery already, who's fine, who's a decent a defensive prospect. But Aitchison, we're not going to talk about that. Aitchison, I feel like, yeah, he's like he could really fill a pretty big hole in that pool, and I think bring a lot more offensive upside than I think some people will expect.
Yeah, I love Aitchison. It's going to be devastated if he goes to the New York Rangers. I'm up for Detroit. I think that the forwards, we kind of have dropped a tier, but I still think Justin Carbonneau is probably the best forward remaining. Great skater, 46 goals in 62 games this year. Detroit, you don't go defenseman here, even though I do like a guy like Jackson Smith. They're loaded defenseman-wise. So I think Carbonneau is somewhat fills the need that they need. And when there's not a clear a potential second-line center here, I think you go Carbonneau.
And now it's for Columbus. When I look at Columbus, it's so hard because I think that they've kind of figured out their forwards. A lot of their players are developing. Their defense is getting there, and you could go D, but I'm going to go goaltender. And I say Joshua Ravensbrunch. And hear me out here on the West Coast. This is a big boy who is he can move very well when he's around it. Now, there are some spots about his game that I think lack and some scouts may shy away from, but he is the clear best cut goalie in this draft and why people are projecting him in the first round. You look at him, maybe not the strongest season, but his strategy, the way that he's doing it. And just for Columbus, they don't have that clear cut guy. And I think he can be that. And now, yes, it is a swing, but I'm going to take that swing and let me do it.
Him and Jet Greaves tandem for the next decade would be pretty lethal. Marcus,
two best goalies in the NHL.
Which bust is Vancouver going to take here, Marcus?
All right. Vancouver
Which Swede
made a trade over this past season where they gave up a guy in JT Miller who plays like a very fast tempo, hard style at center. Now, Vancouver doesn't have a lot of centers, and there's a lot of guys I could probably choose here, but somebody who I watched at the U18, somebody I liked a lot that plays that kind of style, not exactly emulated to a full extent. I like Braden Coots for him. So
my boy, I love that. I love that pick.
Everyone's stealing my picks, man. Oh, it's awful.
Montreal grab.
This is interesting. Montreal. You already stole Justin Carbonneau, so it's not going to be easy here for me, Michael. I think this is interesting because I could go between a couple of guys. I think it's between either Carter Bear or Benjamin Kindle. I think in terms of who the Montreal Canadiens are more likely to select, though, I think it will be Carter Bear. The big thing that I think is a massive point to this is that we've heard a lot recently about how Carter Bear's Achilles injury is actually progressing a lot better than we expected. He's already on the ice, already skating, and could be ready for the combine, which is incredible. The fact that I think he got it in February and he's already back on the ice is unreal. But I love this kid. I mean, this is somebody that, injury aside, is an absolute dog on the ice, just like Braden Coots is somebody that brings so much speed, so much intensity, and is so smart with his physicality. He's not a big boy, but 6 foot. He knows exactly how to use that frame. I think for Montreal right now, you're playing with house money. You've already got your core in place. Get those guys who can grind in that middle six. Bear is going to do that job so perfectly for you.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, definitely just take a swing. I understand that they don't need left-sided defense, but Jackson Smith is the clear best player, in my opinion, available. So in a draft where I think you mostly just go best player available for Montreal, although they have Goulet, although they have Hudson, I think I'm gonna go with Jackson Smith. Again, if he pans out, he's gonna be the best third pair lefty in the entire NHL. So it's not like they need forward prospects, especially if they just go with Carter Bear. So might not make the most sense in the world, but I think Jackson Smith, you just go best player.
No, I don't even think you're wrong there. And being able to address things like that, and we're going to be going it right here. Kendall, you talked about a Grav. This guy, he is so good. His hockey IQ is really what sticks out to me. It's a perfect fit in Calgary. They need a center as well. We talk about their aging centers down the middle in Kadri and Backlund. And why not stay in the same place that you already are in Calgary? He's close enough. Let's make it work. But he plays a risky game that always pans out. He's creative, he's sneaky, and he's brave to get in those spots that not many people do. And at 5'10", you're not expecting that. So for me, I think Kindle is the best spot here for Calgary. And I like that pick for him. I really, really do.
Yeah, if he hits, he could be a legit like 70-point guy. And for Calgary, just take swings on forwards. Marcus.
So looking at St. Louis's entirety of their draft, they got a first and then they don't pick until the 5th. So I really want to hit here. And looking at best available, Lyndon Lakovich. Haven't watched much of him, but he really can play downhill. I really like how fast he is for a guy of his size. So take a swing. Let's see if St. Louis can hit it.
Blues love their bigger forwards in the draft, so I think Lakovich makes a lot of sense. 20 to Columbus. Now, Zach, you put me in an interesting spot taking Ravensburg with the first pick that they have. I think he's more likely in this spot, but I mean, I would not be surprised. I think for a lot of the teams that have 2 picks in the first, those are going to be the teams that really are going to be in the hunt for Ravensburg. And I think at 20th for Columbus, you know what? I'm going to go for my boy. I'm just going to go for it. Logan Hensler, 20th overall to Columbus. Now, I live here in Wisconsin. I've seen every single home game of this kid. And even though I think there is a bit of a confidence issue, there is kind of, I think the biggest thing that goes against him is that he's kind of figuring out what he is at this stage in his career. But he has excellent skating ability, still great habits, great puck handling ability as well, especially up the ice in transition. He's something that got a lot more confident throughout the year. I look at what Columbus has. They have still a lot of defensemen, so he's not going to be rushed by any means. He's something I think is a pretty big project, but he's a very toolsy defenseman. And I think once the decision-making is a little bit more sharper, especially this next year, I think he could be just a very competent middle pair defenseman. If not, he's a bottom pair guy. I think he has a great motor, great mobility to him. So even if he's in that spot, I don't think you mind that whatsoever, especially at 20.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense, especially considering that's like the David Jiricek pick that they got from Minnesota. Select a right-handed defenseman that actually wants to be there. Makes all the sense. Ottawa, I'm going to go with Cole Reshny. Beef up that middle six after taking Yakimchuk last year.
That would be so fun.
Yeah. I think him with some of their forwards would be awesome. A great playmaker, not the best goal scorer, but I think with Ottawa's middle six, he'd really fit in there. So I'd pencil Reshny in.
That's a swing.
And yet again, another pick that goes down the drain for me. This is awful. And that was another flyer pick. Grav, I do agree with you. I do think that Ravensburg would probably go at 20. But when we're talking about my next pick, which is Philly again, and I'm going to go with Nesbitt in Windsor. And you know what? I think a big body, 185 pounds, maybe add a little bit more there. But if you covet down the ice and down the middle, which I think that they should be doing right now for their future, that's your guy. I think he's looking like a Jordan Stahl type guy. Maybe he kind of finishes a bit more when he grows and refines his game all around. But I think ceiling wise, you don't exactly know what you're getting from him yet. So it might be a little bit of a swing. But in terms of his game, I don't really think there's much not to like. He's tenacious, and I think he'll do the job well. Just got to see how he's going to pan out.
Martin and Nesbitt in the same round.
The big boys.
Big boys.
Marcus.
Yes.
So I got Nashville up, right?
Yep.
And looking at so I wanted the Ravensburgen kid, but aside from him, I know there's another Canadian goaltender, Ivan Kovic, and he has really good numbers, played good in U18s, good in U20s. Does it seem a bit of a reach for me to take him at this point? Probably, but when you give up Askarov, I feel like you maybe need a goaltender who's good. Maybe take a swing on him later in the first round, so that's my pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate them taking a goaltender, but like PR-wise, they are going to get murdered if one of these late first-round picks after they traded away Askarov. Grab you up.
All right, 24 in the LA Kings, and we're going back to unreality, because even though I don't think Utah's going to go for a Higgins, and even though I don't think the Kings are going to select this player, I think they honestly should. This is, to me, one of the most underrated players in this draft class. We're going from ASU, Colin Potter for the LA Kings. This is a top 10 one for me, top 10 guy for a lot of key reasons. The speed is among the best in this draft class. The processing, the handles, how he's able to deke around the net, how he can just do so many different things on a whim. He's somebody that I think the production has been a little bit more underwhelming for a draft year guy in the NCAA, but a lot of it was unluckiness throughout, at least from what I saw in the games I watched. He's somebody that is just such a dog in the bone, though, with the puck, is so intense. I mean, you saw in the U18s for the US, he was one of the players out there doing the most with the puck. And even without it, he was doing so much, putting so much energy to get it back to his team. I think for LA, they need more players like this that just push the pace, relentless type of hockey. They are just become such a slow team in so many respects. I think Potter brings them back to the current age at least a little bit more.
Yeah, I really like that pick. Next up, I got Chicago. I'm gonna go with Milton Gashrin, a guy that I really like. He's like 18th on my board personally. When looking at Chicago, what they have down the middle right now, Bedard and Nazar, kind of smaller guys, more so offensive. Milton Gashrin, 6'2", over in Sweden, reliable, two-way guy. I think it makes sense. I think worst case scenario, he's just a very solid 40-point third line two-way guy. So yeah, maybe not the most sexy pick, but you need kind of sure things if you're Chicago within the rebuild.
Fills out the Blackhawks. Absolutely.
Yeah, big time. And talking about non-sexy picks and down the middle, I'm going to go with William Moore for the Nashville Predators. I think that this is a big thing that they have to address down the middle. And although his offense doesn't stick out, and he might not stick out always on the ice, it's because he's being sneakily good. His defense is where he thrives, and I think that him being aggressive and disruptive in each part of the zone is the biggest thing. His playmaking and offense, like I mentioned, does need time to develop, and it will come with time. But like Mike, you were talking about, this is the same guy who I don't think it's going to be this worst thing at all where you get a 40-point guy who's good defensively, and I think that will be his max. But hey, another swing for me, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, he's a guy that I describe of like having some of the tools, just got to like find the toolkit, if that makes sense. He could hit, but
sure.
In the U.S. developmental program, it's kind of just
Big
been a
project.
mess this season. Like this is their worst team in a long, long time. So nobody is having.
There's a reason
career
why
seasons.
Colin Potter left.
Yes, exactly. Marcus for Wash.
So Washington, we all know, has like the best farm system like in the world. Well, not in the world, but like you could argue
They could make
their
anybody
minor
work.
league teams are, like dominant. So they took Hudson last year, BU defenseman. Why not take another one? And the Swedish kid, Sasha Boumedian. I loved watching this kid at BU. I loved watching him at the U18s, and I love how great he played at them to, emphasize a rather lackluster freshman year to start his college career. But I'm glad he's moving up people's draft boards because I've loved him since he stepped on the ice when I saw that long name.
Yeah, when he sets the all-time U18s defenseman rankings, he's gonna go decently high. Who's up next? Grav.
All right, we're going on the Winnipeg Jets, and I'm very happy they're in this spot because that means they lost them to my Stars. But no disrespect, Jets fans, because I think at this spot you're getting a player who is going to be a good one and going to be a reliable player for you in the future. Number 28, I'm going to go for Malcolm Spence here. I would be kind of shocked, honestly, to see him drop to this spot if it were to happen on draft day. We're talking about a 200-foot reliable, intense energy player. I mean, they just traded back for Brandon Tanev. That's the exact type of player you're getting here in Malcolm Spence. Somebody that just drives play all over the ice, but brings it because of his physical intensity, because of the drive he has, the work ethic. I don't think he has top end talent. I think the knack for the net is there, but I don't think the top end skill is quite there. But you're looking at just a very reliable middle six forward. And hey, at 28th overall, I think that's a position you'll take it.
Oh, that's a great value. I totally agree. I've loved his game, but unfortunately, it just feels like he's falling and falling. But
yeah, it's
how it goes on draft day.
High floor, low ceiling. He's Canadian. He'll probably stay in Winnipeg. You got it. For the Winnipeg Jets, that is a
Winnipeg's gonna love him.
That is a perfect pick. For me at Calgary, I'm taking a swing at this point. Unfortunate that this pick from the Sean Monahan trade, they lost theirs and now they're getting Florida's. But yeah, I'm going with Ivan Ryabkin. Maybe the weirdest up and down draft year of anybody who was getting like healthy scratched in Russia.
Yes.
But he looked pretty good in the USHL,
Wild.
especially goal scoring wise. And this guy did have like the third most productive draft year, -1 in the MHL. It's going to come down to his motor. If they can coach him and actually have him be consistent, I think he really could be something. But if he doesn't hit, he's not going to be an NHLer at all. But for Calgary, they need these serious difference makers because it appears like they're never going to be a bottom 8 team and get one of those true difference makers. So yeah, give me Ryabkin, the Russian.
Big time. And I have the final pick I have for the Philadelphia Flyers. We are picking for them again. And I am going to go with the left wing this time. And no, it worked out great. I love
Team Philly.
Jack Murtaugh. This guy plays a simple game that Tocchet is going to love. He's straight line down the middle. You know what you're getting from him. And the thing is, he works hard on the ice. And this is what you're looking for in Philly. That's what you want. And when he's in the offensive zone, he will take some hits. He will be that guy who is just going to take it, and he will produce. And that's what I think you have to be looking at here. He's effective and he does it well. I love his game. And plus, 6'1", 200 pounds. Why not like that?
Yeah, I think he's also like an
goal scorer.
August 22nd birthday.
Yes.
He's one of the youngest players in this draft. Marcus, you wanted him? I could tell.
Dude, that was like my perfect Canes pick, and I was like, oh, might as well go back to back. You know what? We'll just we'll stick with the college kids. Might as well go Will Horcroft. I know he's a little like lower for or on the draft boards, but when you talk about, you know, Carolina and that style that Rod Brindamore plays, I feel like, you know, college guys usually fit in better, especially when it gets around to like the Stanley Cup playoffs, and it's like, oh, you sign and then you come into play. Like, college kids can play anywhere, and you watch how Michigan, you know, they develop players so well. Damn you, Zach! I had that
Hey,
in the bag
look! I had to take one pick in this draft unknowingly, and I did it. So I'm happy about that. I got like 3 of them taken from me. So
Go college,
Yeah,
guys.
you can't
Carolina.
steal Marcus's
Come on,
college guys. That was fucked up.
man.
Grav to finish us off. The San Jose Sharks. After his Dallas
I don't know if
Stars
I
win
can
the
top
Stanley
that.
Cup.
That was pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, this would be my favorite result in the world. Sad for San Jose, even though I want them to draft higher. Anything for a Star Stanley Cup. But I think at this spot, for San Jose already, I mean, you go after Michael Misa, great pick there to shore up that forward group. They got to go D here, but to me, easily something that they run up to the podium for to solidify that right side of the defense. They're going after Blake Fiddler, Texas boy, out of the WHL. And I think at 32nd overall, this is just house money. This is just a perfect selection. Somebody that is just playing such a safe, dependable game. I think there is some problems still trying to use his body, trying to figure out the positioning, especially against the rush. But I think this is somebody that still, with the tools he has, the active stick he brings, he's somebody that San Jose especially, I think, is going to need. They already have a few defensive options, especially Cagnoni, Sam Dickinson. But in terms of true shutdown defensemen, they don't have a lot of that in that pool. Fiddler, I think, could absolutely be that, especially at 32nd overall, late first round pick. It's not a ton of offensive value I think he'll be bringing, besides maybe the slap shot here and there. But I think in Fiddler's case, once that confidence grows, I think this is going to be just a dependable middle of the lineup defenseman.
Yeah, I think you just pencil him in as your second pair right-handed defenseman, and you expect if he gets to 25 points, you're going absolutely crazy for the San Jose Sharks. Here's the final. Schaefer, Misa, Martone, Hagens, Denoyer, Martin, Frondell, Mertka, Eklund, McQueen, O'Brien, Atchison, sadly to New York Rangers, Carbonneau, Ravensbergen, Coots, Bear, Smith, Kindle, Lakovich, Hensler, Reshny, Nesbitt, Ivanik, Potter, Gastrin, Moore, Boymedian, Spence, Ryabkin, Murtaugh, Horcroft, Fiddler. I think we did a pretty fucking good job, boys. I'm proud of what we did.
Yep.
couple surprising picks, but they all made a lot of sense.
I probably, aside from Murtag, I probably got every single one of the guys I wanted for each of the teams. So
yeah, good stuff.
I will say I did have to reach on the goaltender aspect there. I do think they will take a goaltender though. I do think Columbus will be that. Maybe not at 14. I believe it was 14, but maybe at the 20 that Grav was talking about there.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that made perfect sense. Well, thank you guys for hopping on with me. Hopefully at home you enjoyed these joint mock drafts. Maybe we'll do an 8-person where everybody gets 4 picks next time. Just keep on building it until we're at 32. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.